Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It's Monday review time as I look back at the weekend victory over Bristol Rovers before looking ahead to Tuesday night's away fixture as we travel to Wimbledon at the new Plough Lane ground to see if we can make it back-to-back wins in Sky Bet League One. But first of all, reflecting on the weekend victory, it was an interesting game against what was Tommy Widdrington's Bristol Rovers. It's now Joey Barton's Bristol Rovers. That has been announced, that the former Fleetwood man has taken over at the Mem. So we wish him all the best. We can now because we've already played Bristol Rovers twice. But yeah, it was a scrappy game in the main. I think most people will agree with that. Wasn't the most pretty game of football, so to speak. Certainly wasn't one for the purists. First 10-15 minutes, I thought we were well on top. It looked like Jordan Graham was going to run riot, but credit to Widdrington's men. They went flat with a back five, sat deep with two holding midfielders and didn't allow us any space in the final third. And we struggled to find a plan B to try and negate that defensive plan. And the gas grew into it. And I thought Daly, Hanlon and Williams all had really good chances. Perhaps the Williams one, he should have squared it to someone in a better position, but luckily, from our point of view, we got away with all three. That was Daly's cross-come shot from a free kick in the bar, Brandon Hanlon's effort cannon off the post, and Williams slapping one into the Rainimen when well positioned. I thought, though, from the opener, midway through the second half, we were a lot more comfortable. Bristol Rovers' confidence and threat both diminished, and we saw it out pretty well in the end. And managed the game really well for the last 25 minutes. The big downer for us obviously was Callum Slattery's pretty serious looking injury, but it looks like he's got away with it to a degree, but we're still awaiting official confirmation. But anyway, two Bristol Rovers fans now going to give their opinions on the weekend proceedings. First is Tommy Metcalf, and here are his thoughts.
Another frustrating one for Rovers. I think the tactics today, I have to say, were pretty spot on. No one ever likes to see a flat back five and then two holding midfielders, but it just worked. Looking long every time to Younga and Hanlon, causing so much trouble for the Gillingham defence. Really thought we were going to get something out of it, and I mean, we hit the post, hit the bar, like knocking on the door, and you're thinking, yeah, it's going to happen, and then Kinde scores, and it's just absolutely knocks the stuffing out of us. And yeah, it was only ever going to go one way after that. Even with McCormick's miss in the second half, I just felt like it wasn't going to be our day as soon as we went 1-0 down. We didn't play badly, just one of those days. I think Harries and Baldwin both didn't have great days today. Baldwin obviously giving away the penalty, but Harries, every kind of chipped ball into the box just got batted away quite easily. So yeah, no, just... going to be on to Tuesday. Massive game against Wigan at home. Up the gap.
Flat back five that I've already alluded to right at the beginning of the video. Tom mentions and says that it worked really well, and I can't disagree. Like we've said, after the initial opening period, Bristol Rovers banked in, made it really hard for us to play. If we went long, they had three centre-backs that were able to compete in the air with John Akindi, who was operating as a lone striker in the first period. If we got it on the floor and managed to bypass their two holding midfielders, we then met with five defensive players along their edge of their box, and we couldn't get in behind. We didn't get Jordan Graham to the byline or Alex McDonald to the byline after that initial opening period, and they stifled all the attacking threats that we did have. If John Akindi did win it, he didn't have people around him close enough. And yeah, they caused us issues as well, which Tom mentions. We've already spoken about Brandon Hanlon and James Daly's chances. I thought they were the best two out of the attacking trio that Bristol Rovers had on the pitch. All the talk before the game was about Jonah Iunga, but I didn't think he had the best game. Got booked second period for a really naughty tackle, and we saw him off pretty well. But the other two certainly caused us real problems. And yeah, as Tom mentions, John Akindi's goal unfortunately kills all the momentum and all the belief in the gas side. And who knows if they had scored the first goal, if Daly's cross-come shot did drop in, or Brandon Hanlon's effort had gone in off the post, or George Williams had squared it across the 6-yard box, they could have gone in at the break and it would have been a completely different game second period, because we'd have had to have been braver and more open and they could have picked us off. But it wasn't to be from the gas point of view, thankfully for us. And like I've already said, after the first goal, we looked pretty comfortable. Right, I've also got the thoughts of Duke Nukem, and he is coming on your screen right now.
Really disappointing defeat that. It was definitely one that we could have got more out of. We had that cracking half-hour spell in the first half. Big chances. Hanlon, he should score. I mean, he had all the time in the world and just put it too far wide and hit the post. Yeah, McCormick, I don't know how much he went for that, hitting the crossbar. Then that George William chance as well. We had 3 men in the box. That's 3 strikers, which was brilliant to see. And yeah, he went for the near post and got it totally wrong. And yeah, talking about those 3 strikers, I thought, especially first half, they linked up brilliantly. There's one moment where Iunga won the flick on. Daly's quick, energetic self got onto it. Then he got across to Hanlon, and it was the chance where he spun his man, but he just couldn't keep it under control for what would have been a certain goal. And we had a few of those chances where it should have been a goal. We just weren't clinical enough. We were ruined that when we lost 2-0 to Oxford. Obviously, Pompey game, we had Iunga. It was a different player that day. He was incredibly clinical. We had, 20 shots today, didn't score, and we were better than Gillingham. I don't care what Gills in the Blood says. And we were made to rue those chances because, yeah, second half, you could tell we had the upper hand in the tactical battle. We were getting a load of space and our front three were causing them all sorts of problems. But then, yeah, second half, they nullified our threat. And then, yeah, Akinde, it was always going to happen, wasn't it? And he just managed to get slipped through. I think we were out of shape at the back. A really good finish from the big man. But, yeah, we should have been at least 1 up by that chance. And then it was just a struggle getting back in the game because they're a well-organised side. They're always going to fight. But I thought we played well. So it's really disappointed to lose. This isn't going to define our season. We've got some massive games coming up, starting with Wigan on Tuesday. Big 6 points of that. So, yeah, I'm buoyed by what was a good performance. Just need to be more clinical in front of goal. So, yeah, if we can put some chances away, we'll be fine.
Obviously, reiterates a lot of the points that Tom's made and says they could have won. And I think that's entirely feasible. If they got the first goal, like I've said, it could have been a really different game. And what with our run at home not being great at kickoff, it was 1 win in 6 before the Bristol Rovers game. The confidence would have drained out of us instead of them, and we'd have been chasing the game, and Bristol Rovers could have seen it out. But again, he mentions about their front three being a real threat, and I can't disagree. I think if they show a little bit more composure in front of goal, they'll score goals, and they'll certainly do enough to stay up. And you imagine that with Joey Barton going in there now, he'll certainly get them working hard, won't allow for anyone to be dropping off in terms of effort and commitment. And I'm sure they'll be a nastier, more difficult side to play against moving forward. But not clinical. I think that's the big point that Duke makes. And I totally agree. It's something that's been levelled at us before. Been on top in games, created chances, hit the post, hit the bar, missed the target. Then it comes back to bite you on the arse. And luckily it was the other way round because they did have big chances. They did have the better chances first 45 and didn't take them. And then when our chances came around second period, we were really lethal. John Akinde with a really smart finish for the opener after Tommy O'Connor's really good through ball. And then had a penalty that we won't talk about. But credit to Big John, didn't let his head drop, kept getting in the right areas, and he nicked his second right at the end after Carl Dempsey's burst from the middle of the park got to the byline and he cut it back. And despite Joe Day's best efforts, the ball did get over the line eventually. Tactically better than us as well is another point of Duke's. First period after that initial opening, yeah, I tend to agree. They nullified our threats. They stopped us from doing what we do well, and they were a threat going the other way. They went pretty direct as well, as they was playing a back five and a defensive pairing in the middle of the park, so they had to get it up to Daly, Iunga and Hanlon really quick, and they did it pretty well, to be fair. One tackle that stands out was Jack Tucker, who had to get back last ditch and stop Brandon and Hanlon from pulling the trigger, and that was a really good block. But they certainly caused us issues. And yeah. But second period, I think the change of system from us and the couple of substitutions that we did make really swung it in our favour. And although it was still scrappy up to the 65th minute, I thought we looked a lot more comfortable. Their best chance, I think, fell to McCormick. He dragged one wide of the far post after good work by Brandon Hanlon again. But from the goal up to full time, Gills looked like the only side that were going to win the points. Anyway, that's enough about Saturday's fixture. Thanks to both Tom and Duke for coming on with their thoughts. It is much appreciated. I'm sure the gas will be fine and will stay up. But we move on now to Tuesday night's game as we travel to London to the new Plough Lane. Contrasting form over the last 6 for the Dons and the Gills. If you're looking at that last half dozen games, Wimbledon, loss, draw, loss, 1 loss, so only 4 points from 18 over the last 6. The Gills doing all right at the moment. Win, draw, lose, win, lose, win. So that's 10 points from the last 18 in Sky Bet League One. The comparative home and away statistics, it doesn't make pretty reading if you're a Wimbledon fan. A win followed by 5 consecutive defeats. I don't think they've scored in the last 2 or 3 at home as well. They've only taken 3 points from the last 18 at home, which wasn't the homecoming I'm sure the Wimbledon faithful were hoping for when they returned to Plough Lane. Gills on the road have been pretty solid. It's 3 wins, a draw and 2 defeats from the last 6, giving us 10 points from 18 again. So pretty consistent in terms of overall and on the road. 5 home defeats on the spin for the Dons doesn't make pretty reading, like I've already mentioned. We're unbeaten in 3 away from our own patch. That's 7 points from the last 9. That's wins at Charlton and Accrington and a creditable draw at Sunderland. 22nd in the form table, the home side, and Gills currently 9th. So we're going about our business correctly at the moment. We're certainly looking a lot more consistent. Like I've mentioned previously, there are only 2 defeats in the last 8 have come against the best 2 sides in the division that I've seen this season. That's Peterborough and Lincoln City. Excuse me. Looking at Wimbledon in a little bit more detail, Joe Pigott, former Gills striker, 13 in 26. Ryan Longman's got 5 in 25, but no one else has got more than 2 in the league all season. So that's where their problem lies. I think they've only scored 29 in 27 games and they've conceded over 50. So you're looking at a 2-1 defeat pretty much on average every game. Joe Pigott has 45% of their league goals, so most teams would probably turn up and think if you stop Pigott from getting into dangerous areas, you've got a great chance of pinching the points. Team news for us, obviously still no Dominic Samuel. Callum Slattery, I'd imagine, is going to be ruled out even if the scan comes back with positive news. And there are doubts over Connor Ogilvie and Verdane Oliver, according to media reports today. So, in terms of team selection, if Connor Ogilvie's fit, then he plays. So I'd go Jack Bonham in goal, Ryan Jackson, Jack Tucker, Robbie Cundy and Connor Ogilvie as a back 4. My midfield, and I'd like to see this as a diamond to get someone closer to big John Akindi. I would go Stuart O'Keefe or Robbie McKenzie at the base of the diamond, Carl Dempsey and Tommy O'Connor from the sides if Connor Ogilvie's fit to take his place at left back, Ollie Lee in the 10 and then Jordan Graham up front with John Akindi. Obviously, if Connor Ogilvie doesn't make it, then I imagine Tommy O'Connor will slot back in at left back. So we then bring in Alex McDonald from the left side of the diamond. It then gives us flexibility again, like I mentioned on Saturday. Substitutes bench then is a bit of a pickle at the moment because there's so many question marks. Sacha Bastien, the sub-keeper, O'Keefe or McKenzie, depending on which one doesn't start. James Morton, Matty Willock, Alex McDonald if Tom O'Connor does play in the middle of the park. Verdane Oliver if he's fit, obviously, if not Tyreek Johnson, and then we might have to use one of Christian Magoma or Henry Woods as well. It looks like we could be down to the bare bones again for Tuesday's fixture, but I'm still confident in terms of the 11 that we can put out that will certainly be able to give Wimbledon a good game and hopefully pick up a positive result. And score prediction based on all that I've looked at so far, I'm going to go for a final score of Wimbledon 1, Gillingham 2. I'm going to back John Akindi to continue his scoring run, and I'm also going to back the skipper to add to his tally for the season. Right, before I go, we have made it to 1,500 subscribers. So thank you very much to every single one of you over the last 4 years who have subscribed to the channel, liked, retweeted, shared, commented, done everything that you can. I can't thank you enough. It's mental to think that this amount of people, it's effectively a third of the Gills average attendance subscribe to my YouTube channel and listen to me and Boz and Stocky when the situations allow, talk about this football club that we all love. So thank you very much. Like I've said, it's not a channel without you lot. Please keep checking out Fan Hub as well. Be back tomorrow night for the match day live against Wimbledon from Plough Lane. And until next time, up the Gills.